This presentation is about Great Western Mining Corporation, a mineral exploration company. My name is Brian Hall, and I'm the Executive Chairman. Great Western shares are traded on the AIM sector of the London Stock Exchange. We've been in business for over 10 years, and we operate exclusively in the Walker Lane belt of Nevada in the United States. The primary purpose of our presentation today is to tell you about our Huntoon copper project. But before we start on that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Nevada. Nevada is considered to be the most miner-friendly jurisdiction in the world. Also, if Nevada was a country and not an American state, it will be among the top 4 or 5 gold-producing countries in the world. It's a very exciting area, and we have 60 square kilometers of ground, which we've been working on very hard for several years. We will get to the Huntoon copper project a little later, but firstly, just to give you the background to the company, we have 3 legs to our business, 3 business streams. The first is a gold and silver exploration and appraisal program. We've carried out a lot of gold and silver exploration over the last few years, some of it quite successfully. We've had some intercepts of gold and silver over fairly wide areas in different prospects. We have an embarrassment of choice for where to drill for gold and silver. Our gold and silver prospects are also, in many cases, around historic mines, which have been producing since the 1890s. And the Walker Lane has been prolific for gold, silver, and copper over many years. It's a very exciting place to be. In our most successful recent pieces of exploration involve establishing a shallow, very high-grade silver intercept in our high-altitude mineral jackpot prospect. Last year, we discovered an extension to the vein on an abandoned gold mine called Omco, which produced prolifically until the 1940s, and we're going to work further to develop that vein. And in 2024, we carried out a soil sample exercise over an area we call M5, and we had some very interesting results, and we're going to pursue that further in the future too. The second leg of our business is a mill for processing mining waste, of which we have an abundance on our properties. The mill is called Western Milling LLC and is a joint venture with a local contractor. The mill is now finished and pretty much ready to go, subject only to receiving final environmental consent, which is taking its time, but we'll get there in the end. And we expect to generate first revenues during the first part of 2024. And the third leg of our business, which I was keeping to the end because it's the one we want to talk about this morning, is the Huntoon copper project. These are interests around the Huntoon Valley. We've already established through about 5,000 feet of drilling a copper resource. And at this point, I'm going to pass you over to our exploration manager, Dr. James Blight. James will talk you through this, and I hope you'll find it interesting. James.
Thanks, Brian. So we have on the screen a map of Mineral County, and as we said, all of our exploration claims are in that county. And we're going to be focusing on the Huntoon Copper Project, which comprises 3 sub-projects in the south of Mineral County. So we'll zoom in on the area indicated. And we have a map here, which is about 20 kilometers across, and it shows the 3 projects we'd like to talk to you about today. We're going to start off with the project furthest down the exploration pipeline, which is M2. The M2 resource, which Great Western drilled out, this point is at just over 4.28 million tons at 0.45% copper. Now that's quite a modest copper resource, but the exciting message at M2 is that there's abundant expansion potential. So in both directions along strike, we have indicators of further mineralization. One of the key things for us is southwest of the resource, there's a geophysical anomaly which lines up with the anomaly which caused the resource to be discovered originally. And that's as yet undrilled. And then to the northeast, you have about 1.5 kilometers of copper showings and high-grade copper samples and an open anomaly in soils. So the indicators at M2 is that the system continues in both directions, and there really is quite a lot of potential to expand that resource in the near term. The next project to the south of M2 is one we call M4, and this is based on, again, we started with a large area of copper anomalism, about 2 kilometers in strike length, but it's open on the eastern end. So the survey, the high grade copper samples end at the edge of the survey, and there's more to take there. We also have geophysical anomalies similar to at M2, as yet undrilled, and some initial drilling, which has found the best intercept of over 40 meters at 0.23% copper from 106 meters in hole. And that's really just the first discovery hole for this system in a mineralized breccia. And we expect that when we come back here to drill again, we'll be able to expand on this. So finally, but most importantly for us in terms of the story as it developed last year, we have West Huntoon. Now at West Huntoon, we've got a newly recognized porphyry system. Porphyries are amongst the largest copper deposits in the world. And so to have all of the indicators for a porphyry on one of our claims is a really positive development for us. So we already knew about a large area of copper anomalism in soils, about 2 square kilometers at West Huntoon. And we could see a lot of copper in evidence in the rocks, copper secondaries, malachite, and other minerals at surface, other copper oxide minerals at surface. But in 2023, we discovered an area of previously unmapped granite in the center of this zone. And the granite was also mineralized. And granites are key to porphyry settings. So the intrusion is the thing that drives the mineralization in the porphyry. So we brought in some expertise towards the end of the year. And Dr. Lawrence Carter, an expert in porphyry systems, took a look at that granite and found that it had a lot of the right kind of textures that we expect to see in the granites that are associated with porphyry systems. We've also previously drilled one drill hole in this area, and that drill hole had a great intercept of 25 meters at 0.36% copper. So that also supports this story that there's a strong, large-scale copper system at West Huntoon. So again, plentiful expansion potential. Porphyry systems, as I said, are typically large. And I've shown a relatively conservative area where there's potential for expansions to the existing known copper halo. But really, this can be open in most of the directions around the existing anomaly. So finally, a wider point across the valley, we've got these 3 separate systems that are all mutually juxtaposed within this. This circle is about 7 kilometers in radius. So there are obvious synergies in potential future development here. They're close enough together that they would share some infrastructure. But beyond that, the close juxtaposition of these systems suggests that they probably formed in the same environment with the same causative factors. And it's quite common in porphyry systems to have a porphyry center and then to have adjacent skarn systems where intrusions meet limestones, and perhaps epithermal systems higher up. Now, we have some epithermal evidence further down the valley. So really, the point I want to leave you with is the fact that these systems are surrounded and covered by a lot of subsequent material. So here we have a map of the sediments in the Huntoon Valley, and here we have the local tertiary cover. And all of these sequences are post-mineralization, so they're cover sequences. And the opportunity, one of the opportunities at West Huntoon and at the other projects here, is to potentially find continuations of the systems under this cover. And then on a much larger scale, the likelihood is that the 3 things may be linked to a single unifying system underneath the sediments. So we think we've got a big picture in the Huntoon Valley, in the Huntoon Copper Project, and we're excited to push this forward over the coming year. And I'm going to hand back to Brian there.
Thank you, James. We think that we have found something which is potentially very much bigger than we had assumed when we first started exploring for copper in the Huntoon Valley. This is potentially a company-making project. There's still obviously a lot of work to do. It's a project which is too big for us to handle on our own. We are at the moment engaged in talking to a number of companies about the possibility of joining us so that we can put some real muscle into an exploration effort beyond the restrictions of a small cap company like Great Western. But it is a very exciting development for us, and we're very fired up about this, and I hope you found it interesting. We will be reporting more on this as we make progress, and we hope to be able to develop a story which will be very significant for Great Western. Thank you very much for watching. we will be following this video up with some other short videos on our other projects, of which we have many, but our immediate priority is the Huntoon copper project.